I'm going through a phase in my life right now where I have to learn to make myself unavailable to people who are just messy. And I know I've been on this earth for a while, yes, I get that. But sometimes if you have it in your spirit, you kind of know a person, you know what they're going through because you kind of been there yourself, you're more likely to kind of have sympathy for them. So sometimes you'll give them a little bit more emotional leeway and you kind of let them in your life a little bit because you're like, okay, I've been there, done that. But just because that person went through the same thing you went through doesn't mean their experience was the same as yours. Let me say that again. Just because someone is going through the same thing you went through doesn't mean that their experience was the same as yours. Let me explain. You could have been involved with somebody. Let's say that the two of you went to school together, and the both of you had parents that passed away, and you bonded. You bonded due to trauma, and you became friends and been friends for years. You may have a lot in common. But the thing is, you got to understand they're still entirely different persons. Just because they went through the same thing you went through doesn't mean that they're going to sit there and they're going to understand everything the same way you understand things. You grow up, you still keep in contact with each other, but your lives go in totally different directions. Now you're sitting here confused because you're wondering, let's say that you had a decent life. You were able to get an education, you were able to take care of yourself. You're living pretty decently, you have a modest income. You may have a family, You may have the love of your life. Your life has become very fruitful. But this same person that you grew up with under this trauma has been in nothing but mess after mess after mess after mess. And you're sitting up here and you're wondering why. And every now and then, these are the type of people that'll pop up randomly with a problem. There are two people that have problems. There are two types of miserable people, I believe. There are consistently miserable people. These are people that that are going to be miserable on the first of the month, or they're going to be miserable every time he cheats, or they're going to be miserable every time there's hardly any money in the bank, and the husband's wondering where the bank card is because the wife took it. It's just something that's constantly, it's going to expect to constantly go on. And then you got the second type of miserable people, and these are the people that are most dangerous because they're randomly miserable. You're thinking that they're okay and they're quiet for a while, and all of a sudden when they contact you, it's a catastrophic thing that you got to go out of your way to do. But these people have been this way for years. Now, I've been on both sides of this, so I know how that feels. And this person is wondering, we had the same bonding, we shared the same background, we grew up together and everything, but that person always seems to need them for something, always needs to bend their ear about something or something, and you don't understand why. It's about perspective, people. It doesn't matter. You could have 20 people go through the exact same thing under the exact same conditions. But everybody's mindset is different. And people are going to interpret as how that experience is interpreted. You have some people that will approach it and try to take lemonade out of lemons. And they'll try to make their life more productive. They look at the trauma as something that happened. Yes, it did, but it's a part of the past and it's done and over with. But then you have some people who will use that trauma as a weapon for a failed life. And you all know what I'm talking about because I've spoken about this before. People who are emotionally manipulative, who are the proverbial victims, they blame their negative circumstances in their life, not for their poor choices, but for a trauma that occurred in their life. It's all about perspective. So we all have those people in our life, and sometimes you might have to come to a point where you have to distance yourself from them, and it hurts you to your heart because you've known them for years. Hurts you to your heart. But there's nothing you can do about that. Can't change the way somebody thinks. I've told you guys that. The only thing that you can do is be the best person that you can be, and be the best example that you can be, in hopes that person will get the message. But the truth is, you don't know every single thought process of every single minute of their day. You don't. And if you had the ability to know every single thought process of the person in question of every minute of every day, some of y'all would lose your damn minds because you'd be surprised what people are thinking. Because you can't handle it. You can't handle it. And that's why we don't have that ability. Because it would be too much. Your minds would be blown as to what some people were thinking. But that's the reason why. So don't assume just because you came from the same background that everything's going to work out the same for the both of you, because it's not. It's totally under your control. So you're going to have to get that out of your head and accept the fact that people are different and they may see things differently. Now, this person who's constantly going through these negative situations, they didn't let their trauma go. It's still fresh. It's still active in their mind every single minute of every single day. They're not living in the present. They're not being present. So they're kind of just coasting their way through. And they need help with that. They need professional help with that. They need either life coach or counseling or if it's deeper, it could be a psychological issue. They need help. And this is a situation that can be resolved with the proper treatment. But don't give them a hard time over that, because it's just that they saw things differently than you did. But if it's that much of an inconvenience, you might have to distance yourself for a while and let them know, hey, look, you got to work on trying to pull yourself together so you can have the rest of your life could be more fruitful, because right now it's not working. But anyway, I just said that to kind of put that out there, because I know there's some people in this world that actually think just because they came from the same background as somebody else that everybody's supposed to think the same. And I've spoken before in different audios and some of my videos on YouTube about how everybody's different no matter what. That's the way the Creator meant for it to be, people. That's the way the Creator meant for it to be. Creator made each one of us different, and it was intended for each one of us to be different so we can show the love and unconditional commitment to other people and be accepting of their differences. He made us different so we could learn to get along better. If we were all made the same, this world probably wouldn't even exist now. If we were all exactly the same. It doesn't work. Differences keep this thing going. So anyway, I just wanted to put that out there and hoping that it will help someone. You all have a great day.